In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can buy property below market value, even in a booming property market. So my name is Simon Zutshi. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 bestseller. I'm the founder of the Property Investors Network, which is the largest network of property investors in the UK. And I've been investing in property since 1995 and teaching people like you how to become financially independent through property since 2003. Now, I must admit, my first 11 years of investing, I wasn't really finding really big discounted deals. I found one or two deals I kind of stumbled across, but I was going to estate agents and I was trying to buy at auction as well. I think that's what most investors do. But the key to getting really good deals is buying from motivated sellers. Now, you might have noticed, you can't really escape noticing that for the last year or so, we've had an absolutely booming market in the UK. From 2010 to 2021, it's been a pretty good booming market anyway. But much to everyone's surprise, when COVID-19 hit and the pandemic came and the lockdowns came, the government decided to react to the Bank of England's prediction that property prices might come down 16% because of the recession and the pandemic by bringing in the stamp duty holiday and also by having this furlough scheme so that not everyone was made unemployed suddenly. This stimulated the property market along with all of the bounce back loans and CBIL loans, a lot of money coming to the market. There was a lot of pent up demand because when the first lockdown came, for about 10 weeks, we couldn't do anything at all. So this caused a real boom in the property market towards the end of 2020 and into 21. So what does this mean for you as a property investor? Well, when the market's absolutely booming, obviously sellers are of the view that they're going to sell their property really quickly and it is harder to get discounts. Is it impossible? No, it's not. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can buy below market value even in a booming market. So here's the secret. Here's what you need to do. Now, I need to explain a little bit of background first of all. 1 in 3 sales in the UK falls through. That's the National Office of Statistics figures, 1 in 3 sales. It's actually 36% of deals. Why do deals fall through? Well, a number of reasons. First of all, sometimes the buyer or the seller just change their mind. Usually it's a financing issue. The buyer is struggling to get their finance and thus can't buy the property. Sometimes both the buyer and seller are very willing, but maybe the buyer has to sell another property before they can buy this one, and the sale of their property falls through. It's what we call a chain. So a chain breaks when someone in the chain can't do the transaction and everyone in that chain is affected. So this is why it's such a high number, 1 in 3 sales fall through. Now imagine for a minute that you've got a property that you're selling and you put it on the market, and after a while you have some viewings, you finally get an offer that you accept, and fantastic, I've sold my property. That's then moving through all the legal paperwork that has to happen, the buyer's getting their mortgage sorted out, etc. Only until a couple of months down the line, and maybe even longer than that, but typically a couple of months down the line, you get a call one day from either your solicitor who's selling the property for you, or your estate agent, and they say, really sorry to say, but for whatever reason, the buyer can no longer proceed with the purchase. It's an absolutely devastating phone call because mentally you've kind of moved on, you might have spent the money, or you thought about buying the new house, whatever you're going to do with the money, you've mentally moved on from this property, and yet the property's there, unsold, back to square one. You've got to have more people traipsing around your property. You've got to have the anguish of having offers or not having offers and negotiating. It's a real pain. And given that 1 in 3 sales fall through, it happens to many, many sellers. So if you can find these people where a sale has just fallen through, they might be more flexible. They're going to be more motivated to give you either a lower price or flexibility on the terms of the sale. So if you find these people where the sale's fallen through, they might be happier to sell to you at a better price. Many of my students have used this strategy. They might have made an offer on a property initially that was rejected. Then, because the seller decided to go with someone else, maybe offering more money. Then the sale fell through, my client's gone back, and maybe this time the offer's been accepted, maybe they've gone with someone else again. And sometimes on the 3rd time of offering, my client's been able to buy the property. But here's the interesting thing, sometimes at less than their original offer. So my clients made an offer, they're happy to pay that higher price, but because the sellers come back, because they've been more motivated, they've been happier to take a lower amount. So this is how you can buy property below market value. The key is to find motivated sellers, and in a booming market, the biggest motivation is when a sale falls through. So how do you do this? Well, when you're looking for properties, I think on a weekly basis, you should be using the search platforms such as Zoopla and Rightmove. In the area in which you're looking to invest, type in your search criteria and then do a search to see what's available. Now, what most people do, they'll put in the criteria, but they don't check a little box on the form. So on Zoopla, where it says advanced search, you click on advanced search and you could click a box that says include SSTC and under offer. What does that mean? So when we do a search for properties, we actually want to include properties that have technically been sold. Someone's made an offer, it's been accepted by the owner, and it's just going through to the legal paperwork. Now, most investors don't want to have those properties come up because they think, well, it's sold, I've missed out, I'm too late. They don't even bother speaking to the agents about those properties. But my idea for you that absolutely works, you want to contact the agents about properties that meet your criteria but that have already sold. Because remember, 1 in 3 of those sales fall through. So you get the properties come up in the search, you call the agent, they'll say, oh no, sorry, it's sold. Now, you need to find out how long ago was the offer accepted. If it's only been accepted in the last week or couple of weeks, then fair enough. But if it was accepted months ago and the property still hasn't exchanged contracts, I would say something like, well, that's interesting. I thought it would have exchanged by now. Well, just to let you know, I'm really interested in this property. So can you let me know if for any reason the sale falls through? And they'll say, yes, of course we will, but it's not going to fall through. That's what they think. They don't know it might fall through because 1 in 3 sales in the UK fall through. Now, it's not good enough for you to rely on the estate agent to come back to you. Some good agents will do that, but unfortunately, many agents are not that organized. They speak to a lot of people and they probably didn't bother to take a note because they thought the property was sold. So you need to be proactive. I would call that agent every 2 weeks about that property. Keep on asking, keep on following up. And you say, look, I know you've told me it's sold, but I know things fall through. I just want to let you know I'm here. So keep reminding that agent. If you're calling every 2 weeks about that property, I'm pretty sure no one else, unless they've done my training, will be that persistent. And the agent will remember you. The day it comes back and they think, oh, it's failed. Oh, hang on, that person, they were calling me. What was their name? And they might call you. But still, in case they forget, in case they lose your details, you need to be proactive. You need to be reaching out and asking them if it's still available. And there might be a number of properties on the book. There's not just one property you're calling about. No, what about this one? What about that one? What's the progress? And just let them know you are interested. They need to know you are a serious buyer ready to move. So you need to be proactive. Now, when you do those searches on Rightmove, there's a little box next to find property. Again, same thing. You need to tick the box, check the box to say, give me the properties that say sold, subject to contract, SSTC, and under offer. So it's slightly different places on Zoopla and Rightmove, but go and have a look for those. And now, moving forward, whenever you look for a property, make sure you check those boxes so those properties come up. This is a great example of doing something different to what the average investor will do. If you do what the average investor does, you're competing with everyone else and you're going to get the same results as an average investor. If you want to be a more successful investor, you need to do things in a slightly different way, a contrarian way maybe. So if you think the property's sold, great, speak to the agent. Now, this is a numbers game. A lot of those properties are going to be sold and you're not going to be able to do a deal. But all you need is 1 or 2 deals to come through that have fallen over, and particularly if the sales fall over 2 or even 3 times, imagine you're that seller. You're going to be desperate to get this next person who can actually deliver, who's actually going to make sure they come through and buy the property, and for that certainty and the speed, they might be prepared to be very flexible on the price and all the terms. This is actually a very simple concept when you think about it. And I believe that to be a successful investor, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to do lots of complicated things. You just need to do the right things consistently. One of my friends and one of my business coaches, Andy Gwynn, he has a formula which is to get great results. Here's what you need to do. You take massive action times the right stuff times consistency equals massive results. So you've got to do lots of things, but it's not just about doing lots of things, it's doing the right stuff. You need to have that consistency, so you keep doing it and don't give up. The only reason you will not be a successful investor is if you stop doing the things you should do. So I do hope this has been a useful video for you. If you liked it, please click the like button. Please give a comment. That really helps other people to see this. Why not subscribe to the channel to make sure every time a new video comes out, you get notified so you don't miss these golden nuggets. Now, this particular bit of content actually comes from my Property Magic podcast. It's a podcast I do based on content in the book and based on things I share on my mastermind program. It comes out every single Tuesday morning. It's only about 15 minutes long. It just means no interviews, me sharing some great content that will help you be a successful investor. You can actually get it on iTunes, you can get it on Google Play if you've got an Android phone, you can get it on Spotify. I highly encourage you to go and subscribe to that as well and listen in. If you listen to all the podcasts there's a couple of months worth of listening, one every morning. You will know more than the average investor if you want to successfully invest in the UK. So I highly recommend you do that. It's only a short bit of content every single week that will really help you move forward in your property journey. So as ever, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I do hope you've enjoyed that video. I've lined up another video to watch next. I think it's going to be very relevant for you. And also, if you click on the link below, you can actually get a complimentary copy of my best-selling book, Property Magic. We'll ask you just to pay for the postage. We'll send it anywhere in the world. So click on the link right now to get your copy of Property Magic.